Hey guys, welcome back to the channel McNallie Money, home of all things stock, investment, and personal finance related. Now for today's video, we're going to be introducing a brand new penny stock to the channel. The company name is Citius Pharmaceuticals, and they've got a really exciting pipeline of critical care products that they're looking to bring to market. Now we're going to talk about that in depth during today's presentation, but before we do, please take a second, hit the like button, you guys. It's a huge help to myself and the channel. If you're not already subscribed, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. And let me know in the comment section below if you've heard of this company before, if you're currently holding shares of Citius Pharmaceuticals, and what you thought about today's presentation. Now with that being said, let's get into today's video. Okay guys, so that's right. Today's video, we're going to be profiling Citius Pharmaceuticals. This one's super exciting for a number of reasons we're going to talk about or break down in today's presentation. Before we get into it, I wanted to take a quick look at the chart here. For those of you who maybe aren't super familiar with this company, trades under the ticker symbol CTXR on the NASDAQ exchange in the United States. As you can see, closed out Friday's session last week, down 2 cents on the day, or about 2%, to finish the session at $1.01 US. And you can see relatively flat in after hours trading as well, with a 1 cent move to the upside, or about 1%. Now on a fully diluted basis, Citius Pharmaceuticals has about 195 million shares, so under $200 million market cap. And as mentioned in the intro, this is a specialty pharmaceutical company involved or engaged in the development and commercialization of critical care products. So we're going to take a look at those products in more detail during today's presentation and review a couple of recent articles that have come out in relation to this company. Now before we get into all of that, I wanted to jump over to the company's corporate website. I'll leave a link in the video description below if you'd like to go in and do some additional research for yourself. Citius Pharmaceutical, under the overview tab, you can see is what's called a late stage biopharmaceutical company. We're going to explain what late stage means in a second here, focused on the development and commercialization of first-in-class critical care products, with a pipeline of anti-infectives and adjunct cancer care, oncology, stem cell therapy, and unique prescription products. So a wide variety of solutions, or a really diverse product pipeline from the team at Citius Pharmaceutical. Our team has extensive experience in the pharmaceutical industry, allowing us to identify compelling opportunities or late-stage opportunities and develop assets that have unique commercial advantages and differentiated upside potential. By deploying capital thoughtfully, we believe our activities will provide patients and caregivers with improved treatment options and deliver long-term sustainable value to shareholders. So another one of these great examples where you're actually investing in a company that's making meaningful change in the customer or patient's lives. Our diversified pipeline of therapies targeting unmet medical needs includes 3 potential first and only prescription treatments in their indications. And if we continue to scroll down, we can actually see a summary of the various different products within the Citius Pharma portfolio. Now we're going to talk about each one of these programs or products in more detail during today's presentation, but I did want to do a quick high-level summary at this point just to really outline the rest of today's video. So the first program listed is Iontac or Ontac, labeled as E777. We're going to talk about this one in one of the articles coming up next. This is really focused on cancer immunotherapy. It's got an estimated market opportunity in excess of $300 million. And you can see in terms of the development pipeline, this is actually one of the most advanced programs within the Citius portfolio. Next up is Mino-Lok. This is really focused on treating CVC infections, which stands for central venous catheters. This market opportunity is estimated to be in excess of $1.8 billion. Again, very advanced program in terms of the pipeline. They've also got Halo-Lido, which is a prescription therapy for hemorrhoids, and actually just announced some really exciting news in relation to this program that we're going to cover in today's presentation. This one's got an estimated market opportunity in excess of $2 billion worldwide. Mino-Wrap, which is focused on preventing infections associated with breast implants, that's a $400+ million opportunity. And then last but not least, again in the preclinical stage, they've got a treatment for ARDS with a multi-billion-dollar opportunity. So the real takeaway at this point in the presentation is multiple different programs running in unison here, various different stages of completion, and a huge total addressable market, or TAM, for each one of these products on their own. But taken together, you guys, an absolutely massive market opportunity for Citius Pharmaceuticals. Now moving along in today's presentation, and now that we have a general understanding of the Citius Pharmaceuticals business model and their pipeline or portfolio of programs, I came across this article from Market Research Repository. Again, I'll leave it linked in the video description below, and it really lays out quite a bullish case for this company over the next couple of quarters. So it's titled Cracking the $5.4 Billion Cancer Crisis. Again, absolutely massive market opportunity. Biotech breakout, Citius Pharmaceuticals, ticker symbol CTXR. We just looked at the chart. Phase 3 results could transform the $5.4 billion fight against this deadly affliction, being cancer. And that's really just the beginning. And again, that's a reference to that diversified portfolio that we just took a look at on the previous slide. So if we continue to scroll through this article, the first thing I wanted to call out is some breaking news that just came out a few days ago, so the end of April here, or April 26, 2022, and it talks about Citius Pharmaceuticals actually enrolling the first patients in phase 2B studies for their Halo-Lido hemorrhoid treatment. And if we actually pull up that article here, you can see Citius Pharmaceuticals is now enrolling the first patients in what's called phase 2B studies for their Halo-Lido prescription treatment of hemorrhoids. So this is a super exciting development and really a great example of how the team at Citius Pharmaceuticals is continuing to push these programs through the development pipeline. And you can see the Halo-Lido program here moving into the phase 2B trials, which is noted as an anticipated milestone for 2022. So I wanted to throw that in because it's super timely and very relevant to the theme of today's video, and we're actually going to refer back to that article in a little bit more detail towards the end of today's presentation. So if we jump back to the article from Market Research Repository, I'm going to walk you through their bullish thesis for this company in a little bit more detail. So to kick things off, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is one of the deadliest forms of cancer, and if left unchecked, can actually be fatal for 1 in 3 people who are diagnosed with this condition. Now, this form of cancer actually targets your body's germ-fighting immune system, and it invades your body's lymph nodes, with an average of about 500,000 or 500,000 people being diagnosed with this each and every year. So when I talk about investing in companies that are actually making meaningful change for the customers' lives, this is a perfect example of that in action. Now, Citius Pharmaceuticals, again as a late-stage biopharmaceutical company, has now acquired the rights to the experimental compound E777 or E7777. And if we jump back to the program overview, that was the one actually listed at the top of the list, focused on that cancer immunotherapy. So this compound is a direct improvement to a previously FDA-approved medication that directly attacks infected cancer cells inside the human's body, and this new cancer-fighting remedy could be mere months away or just a couple of months away from its own FDA approval. So this is a major catalyst on the horizon for Citius Pharmaceutical, and if and when this product hits the market, this new treatment could provide a whole new proven alternative to the harsh side effects of chemotherapy or aggressive radiation treatment. So really a groundbreaking product or technology that's far superior to the current alternative options. And that solution is exactly what puts Citius Pharmaceuticals on deck to really transform that $5.4 billion market for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma treatment that we saw in the article's title. And they go on to say the best part of this whole story is this is just one of several potentially game-changing new therapies or programs in the company's pipeline, which we just looked at on the last slide. So for me personally, and why I was so excited to get this video out, is not only does this company have cutting edge technology that's right on the cusp of FDA approval, but they've also got a diversified pipeline of additional products and programs, which should really give investors a lot of confidence in the longevity of this organization. Now, as we continue to move through this article, you can see Citius Pharmaceuticals is a biopharma powerhouse hiding in plain sight, and they actually specifically call out this late-stage biopharmaceutical strategy, which can actually be a very exciting and efficient way to build shareholder value. So a late-stage biopharmaceutical company is really where a highly experienced management team purchases rights to the most promising new therapies and then either brings them to market or licenses those rights to bigger pharma companies like Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson. Now, it's almost counterintuitive, but late-stage development is actually the most difficult in the pharmaceutical space and one of the most expensive parts of the process for any new kind of treatment. So although these programs have already received a ton of investment, research and development, and have cleared a number of milestones, about 2 out of 5 or 40% of drugs still fail to secure final FDA approval. So it's definitely a high risk, high reward scenario for these late stage biopharmaceutical companies. And that's really one of the key things to understand with Citius Pharmaceuticals and the powerhouse management team here, which they refer to in the article as a dream team of top insiders, is really what sets Citius apart from some of the other late stage companies in this space. So Citius is turning the odds in their favor with 2 treatments now in phase 3, which we looked at in the intro, both looking like they're actually going to pass and receive that final FDA approval. So in addition to the E777 program that's focused on that cancer immunotherapy that we just talked about, they've also got Mino-Lok, which just advanced to phase 3 clinical studies. They've got Mino-Wrap, which is the one focused on preventing infections associated with breast implants. So that's actually designed to reduce infections associated with the use of breast tissue expanders, or TEs, used in breast reconstruction surgeries following mastectomies. And Halo-Lido, which is developed to provide anti-inflammatory and anesthetic relief to people suffering from hemorrhoids. And that's the article we just talked about, which came out on April 26th. So in total, they've got 3 proprietary products in addition to the E777, which we talked about in the intro. And again, that's what should really bring confidence and excitement to this investment opportunity. Now, the article focuses on Mino-Lok first, since this is Citius Pharmaceuticals' most promising and what they call most immediate potential revenue source. And what's really interesting with this solution or program is this one's designed to really treat patients with catheter-related bloodstream infections, also known as CRBSIs. So the status quo process here, you guys, is catheter infections are actually treated by removing the catheter from the patient and then prescribing antibiotics. So as you can imagine, this is a costly medical process with potential complications for that patient. And in fact, about 15 to 20% of CVCs, which again stands for central venous catheters, actually result in complications. So Mino-Lok allows doctors to treat the infection or catheter infection without having to remove the catheter and risk some of those additional complications. So much lower overall risk and cost for the patient. So this one's currently in phase 3 trials, and again could be one of the first revenue opportunities for Citius Pharmaceuticals. Now the Mino-Wrap solution, this one's focused on that post-mastectomy $400 million market opportunity to prevent post-operative infections with surgical implants. It's a gel-containing film, and it's primarily used to wrap the tissue expander used in these reconstructive surgeries. So this one has potential to be the first and only FDA-approved product to prevent infections associated with this post-mastectomy breast implant, currently in preclinical development. And this one's being developed in partnership with the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. Now, in terms of the number of people who could actually benefit from this product, it's estimated this condition impacts about 100,000 women in the US alone. So again, a product that can cut down on the overall risk and cost for these patients. Now, the last program covered in the market research article is really in relation to the hemorrhoid market, and this is the Halo-Lido program that we covered in the intro. This is also the program that just had that development come out on April 26th, so we're going to double click on that one in a second. But this one actually represents a massive market opportunity, and surprisingly, there's currently no FDA-approved prescription products for hemorrhoids on the market. However, that could soon change with Citius's Halo-Betasol and lidocaine formulations, and that's where the name Halo-Lido actually comes from. So hemorrhoids, if you're unfamiliar, are uncomfortable, often reoccurring condition. However, despite the numerous prescriptions and OTC or over-the-counter products commonly used to treat hemorrhoids, like Preparation H, for example, none possess the necessary safety and efficacy from rigorously conducted clinical trials. And this is really where the opportunity is for Citius Pharmaceutical. So Citius believes its Halo-Lido or Halo-Betasol lidocaine product could one day become that go-to treatment for physicians with FDA approval, wanting to provide patients with a therapy demonstrating safety and efficacy. And one of the really surprising numbers listed under the program highlights, according to the IMS, there's over 25 million units of topical combination prescriptions that are sold each year in the United States to treat treat hemorrhoids. And that's exactly what we see in the article, again, which came out April 26, talking about the first patients being enrolled in this phase 2b clinical study for Halo-Lido. If approved, Halo-Lido would be the first FDA-approved prescription product indicated for the treatment of hemorrhoids. So the key objective of this phase 2b study is to evaluate the ability of the formulation or Halo-Lido used in each cohort of patients to provide relief for acute flare-ups of hemorrhoids. The study will evaluate reduction in hemorrhoidal symptoms, which include pain, burning, itching, and swelling, following treatment, and is expected to provide the foundation for the next step, which would be phase 3 studies. The FDA has guided Citius in developing a patient-reported outcome, or ePRO instrument, which patients can use to record and report important safety and efficacy data in real time. So as you can see, a very rigorous and regimented process to get this FDA approval. Now, Leonard Mazur, who's the CEO of Citius, goes on to say, "We are pleased to have initiated the Halo-Lido study and expect to complete the enrollment later this year. Currently, again, there's no FDA-approved prescription-strength treatments available to the millions of adults who suffer from hemorrhoid discomfort each year, and if approved, Halo-Lido would be the first prescription product indicated for the treatment of hemorrhoids. As such, we believe there's a substantial worldwide market opportunity for this drug candidate. Assuming study results are positive, and in order to realize the full potential of Halo-Lido, we intend to seek strategic or financial partners for this asset at the appropriate time." And I should mention, more than half of the US population will experience hemorrhoids at one point in their life. Each year, approximately 10 million people in the United States report symptoms associated with hemorrhoids. So this is a massive addressable market, and just one of the products or programs that the team at Citius Pharmaceuticals is really excited to bring to market. And speaking of that team, here's a look at the leadership team at Citius Pharmaceuticals. So Leonard Mazur, that's the CEO and chairman who we just heard comment on the Halo-Lido progress or article. He leads the company, and if you actually look at the combined experience of the group here, you guys, and some of the previous companies this team has actually worked at or represents, it really is quite impressive, and you can quickly see why the author at Market Research Repository referred to this as the dream team. So again, I would highly encourage you to go in and take a closer look at the management or leadership team for yourself if you're thinking about investing in this company, because they really do have a proven track record at a variety of major players in the pharmaceutical sector or space, and the connections required to really continue to progress these programs through the development pipeline. Now, the other thing I wanted to discuss before I let you guys go today is a quick look at the financial summary of Citius Pharmaceuticals and call out a couple of specific numbers on this page. So first of all, we just learned that late-stage pharmaceutical development can be very expensive, so I wanted to call out the cash position here of $65.4 million of cash and cash equivalents as of December 31st, 2021. So very well funded, and you can see how expensive this R&D actually is in practice. So $5.5 million R&D budget in Q1 of 2022 alone. However, they're well capitalized and they've got that runway secured right into 2023. Now, the other thing I wanted to call out is actually the amount of insider ownership at this company. So you can see over $26.5 million invested by insiders overall. And Leonard Mazur, again, the CEO of the company, owns just under 12% of the total shares, with the vice chairman and co-founder Myron holding an additional 2.6% of the company. And again, this is something I love to see with these small cap penny stock type of firms, because the management team has a large amount of their own money or skin in the game invested in the business. And here's where you can actually see the fully diluted share count, right around 195 million shares that we talked about in the intro. So to close things out here today, you guys, and in summary of Citius Pharmaceuticals, I wanted to leave you with some investment highlights. So first and foremost, this company's got a diversified pipeline of potential first-in-class products with multiple near-term catalysts on the horizon. And again, we talked about that in detail throughout today's presentation. They've got attractive multi-billion-dollar opportunities in the cancer care, infectious disease, and gastrointestinal disease sectors. They've got those strong research partnerships to advance and develop the pipeline of products, robust balance sheet, which we just looked at, to support that pipeline development and invest in long-term growth of the organization. and the seasoned leadership team, again, which we just looked at on the last slide, with a successful execution-focused track record and a number of key connections in the pharmaceutical industry. And all of that really distills into three key pillars, which are advancing therapies with unique commercial advantages, investing in assets with differentiated upside potential, and creating long-term sustainable value for shareholders. Not to mention improving the lives of patients around the world struggling from these various conditions. So for those reasons, you guys, I definitely think this one is worth a look. Very unique and intriguing business model and seasoned leadership team at Citius Pharmaceutical. I'd be super curious to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're currently holding shares of this company, what you thought about the recent news in relation to Halo-Lido and the business model overall compared to some of the other players in this space. If you're still watching the video at this point in time, hopefully you found some value, so make sure you hit the like button before you leave. And if you're not currently subscribed to the channel, McNallie Money, feel free to do so. That's all for now. Thanks so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.